Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Stephanie Renée, and we are here at the lovely Uncle Bobbie's Bookstore. And to my right, your left, probably. As yeah.
We got an audience.
Yes, I was going to say there are other folk that were going to be disturbing for just a minute while we do this conversation. No, it's fine. But next to me is one of my long-standing brothers in the word, and I say that because as writers, as spoken word artists, as just general people who love writing and love engaging people around text and the possibilities of language, Kwame Alexander is definitely my brother in that regard. And I'm so glad that you were in town.
I know. It's been so long since we've seen each other.
Listen, so let's talk a little bit about some of that history, because I know that some of you who follow me, some of you know me from my years at WURD, of course, but prior to that, there are a whole host of people who know me only as a vocalist. And then there are people even earlier than that who know me only as a spoken word artist. And so that is where this man comes in. We were just talking about it as I walked in. 20 years at least as friends. And so I can't remember when we first met.
It was the early 1990s.
But I want to say that was it in relation to Tacoma Station?
Oh yeah, it was.
See, okay. So let's start. Tell the people about that venue and the welcoming stage for spoken word artists.
Actually, I don't even know if it was Tacoma Station. I feel like it was Zanzibar Blue.
Oh Lord!
Before Tacoma, weren't you there?
Yes, but
right?
so there's a lot. So yeah, there's a lot of mixing and merging, because the poetry was rarely on its own. If you weren't a slam poet, like if you didn't compete specifically in that space, then a lot of this kind of familiarity with poetry and being on stage was incorporated with music.
With music. Warren Ory?
Yes.
The jazz band?
Yes.
Right?
At the old Zanzibar Blue on 11th Street. Just so we're clear.
I used to drive up with a friend of mine named Omar Tyree, and we would all, Rich Medina was like, it was the whole old school. It was everybody.
Yes.
But yeah, I started doing this event in DC, trying to mirror what y'all did at Tacoma Station, and it was a poetry slam with a live jazz band, and it was every first Friday. And I feel like you were there either as a special guest or competing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot. So the thing is, right, sometimes people associate me with Philly so much that you forget I'm a DC girl by birth. And so I used to put a lot of mileage on my various vehicles, going up and down the highway to be at home and just be in those venues and be a part of that community, and up going to New York and doing the same thing. But Tacoma Station, yes,
New Yorican,
and Brooklyn Moon was really my home away from home when I was doing theater, because that's probably the first place that I saw Jessica Care Moore.
Me too.
I saw Saul probably first in DC.
Okay,
but the Vibe Chameleons, and just.
It was just a family of writers and poets who loved what we did. We loved writing. We wrote because it was our passion, and we believed that we had something to say and something worth hearing. And we were all just like this one family. I mean, it was like these pockets. It was, I remember all the poets from Philly. Of course, Zanzibar was the only place I remember ever performing at. DC had Tacoma Station, It's Your Mug. New York had Brooklyn Moon. LA had World Stage.
I want to say I have a picture of you at Buttermilk, though.
Oh, Buttermilk.
And I was going to say,
what's his name?
so DJ Qool DJ Marv, Jeannie Q, and Kenny Wells.
Yeah.
So,
Buttermilk. Butta. Get it right.
I'll share this because they have a page. So on Facebook. So I'll share it there as well.
It was a good time. We all supported each other, and it was nothing but love. Yeah. And beautiful, beautiful poets and writing.
Absolutely. And this is before Love Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
I feel the need to say that because a lot of people feel like it all started with the popularity of a film, but no.
Love Jones started because of all the stuff that was happening around the country.
Yes. Absolutely. So man, your evolution
from
this to all of the stuff that you've got going on, because we reconnected. So beyond Tacoma Station and the up and down the 95 corridor doing the poetry thing, we reconnected when you started doing children's books, and you did the text for a book for National Geographic that was all about the animals.
Right.
And I interviewed you when I was at work.
Right.
For
I feel
that
like it
book.
was a late night show. It wasn't?
That at that point it might have been.
Yeah.
But I was like, when I got the press about that book, I was like, I know him. We're gonna get him on the show and we're gonna talk about this. So from poetry to children's books.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that transition.
I had my second daughter was born in 2008, and I was like, I want to write stuff for her. Mm-hmm. So all the love poems, all the I'm the blues in your left eye, the funk, all that stuff, that changed. My sensibilities changed, and I began to write stories and poems for my then newborn daughter. Mm-hmm. And that turned into me writing a book about jazz music for her called Acoustic Rooster. And then I was like, I kind of like this children's book thing, and I started writing more children's books. But it started because of my sensibilities had changed being a new father, and I just never turned back. That was 2008, and then, it's 2023, and I've written 39 books.
Listen, I want you all to know that I have an alert set up on my Alexa for when new books get released. So Alexa will tell me when I can go to Amazon and get them. But this has been a ride, because beautiful books for the baby girl, evolving into television projects, and incorporating more of these wonderful people that we met as a part of the spoken word community. Right. So let's remind people where they might have seen some of your work outside of the printed page.
So I got a TV show on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. It's called The Crossover, and it's based on one of my novels. And it's a novel called The Crossover. It came out in 2014. And so the show is on Disney Plus now. We shot it in New Orleans last summer, the summer before last.
One of my favorite places on the planet.
Oppressively hot and the best food ever. But we shot it there, and the two main characters are twin brothers, Josh and JB. And one of the brothers is a poet. And so the actor we cast don't know nothing about poetry, Yeah. So I was like, we about to put him through a boot camp. And they were like, Kwame, are you going to do it? I was like, no, I'm going to get the person who really taught me.
And does boot camps.
Tony Blackman.
Shout out, Tony.
Tony Blackman came down. Tony Blackman did 6-month boot camp with all the kids on The Crossover to teach them how to do poetry. And of course, what did she do? She had them listen to The Last Poets. She had them listen to Wadu. Mm-hmm. She had them listening to Jill's first CD. Mm-hmm. She had them reading Sonia Sanchez haiku. Mm-hmm. She had these 12 and 13-year-olds immersed in poetry. It was like an MFA.
Yes.
And it culminated in a big poetry open mic we did on set. And when you watch the show, you will see these kids they know poetry.
And love it.
And love it. That's the thing. She had them writing, freestyling, because Tony freestyle.
Yes.
She had them freestyling. So all along the way, everything I've done, from the theater to the movies to the TV show, I've tried to remember the people who were with me from the beginning, who I learned a lot from, like Tony, like John Ashford, who did artwork for episode 3 of The Crossover.
Beautiful, beautiful work. And
now we're doing this cartoon with PBS called Acoustic Roosters Barnyard Band. And we've been talking to a certain jazz singer about being one of the voices of the characters, but I ain't saying no names. I'm just saying. For
those
putting it out there.
Look, shout out to my friend Dr. Kathleen Walls for Froggy T and Bunny, because that was the beginning of me saying, you know what, I would like to do an animated character. Now things are still in the works, but we're just saying I appreciate even the conversation around it, because Steph loved the kids.
Absolutely.
and we got to keep this elevating. But fatherhood has really been this major inspiration for you to write things for your daughter, but it's also been a point of exploration for you to share the journey.
I feel like you talking about this new book right here. Why Fathers Cry at Night. It's hard to talk about this book without crying. And I don't feel like, I got my sunglasses on so y'all couldn't see me. But no, I have 2 daughters. Parenting is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's harder than any job I've had. It's the most rewarding also. And so I have been thinking a lot about the relationship that I have with my daughters and the relationship I have with my father and the relationship that I had with my mother before she passed and the one that I still want to have with her now that she's no longer here physically.
Say that.
So I am trying to figure all that out. And so exploring my fatherhood and my being a son, it all came out in this memoir, which is probably the hardest book I've ever written. To write about yourself and put your business out on the streets.
People who follow me know that this has been a real journey for me. When you said have the relationship you want to still have with your mother because she's transitioned, that is so necessary, and I'm in the process. People who know me know that I've been working on my family history for a long time, and this project that I'm working on now that I have more of my time to myself, is in earnest that process, because my mother's been gone since I was 11. My mother's been gone since 82. And this notion of all that I didn't know, all that I didn't get a chance to ask, and all that I'm trying to explore through that. So I relate to what you said about that very concretely. But hey, y'all, it's almost Father's Day. So if everybody's relationship with that parental figure can be challenging, it can be beautiful, it can be challenging. But if you need a book that helps you find the space to process some of that, that's what this is about. Yeah. As you heard him say, it ain't easy. Right. So let's have more opportunities to dialogue about what the journey is. Yeah. And the realizations that you come to or keep coming to.
Yeah, because this is a book that I've chronicled parts of my life, in particular my love life. But I'm also, it's in real time, so every day I'm learning something new and something's being revealed. Yeah. And so my perspective is changing. Yeah. So I was just, I'm here in Philly on book tour. And last week I was on the West Coast. And the way I answered some questions last week may not be the way I answer them this week. Because I'm learning and growing on the job. Yes. As I write about in the book. I borrowed this phrase from my friend Christine Platt. I'm not a grown man. I'm a growing man. Right. So.
Yes, I hear that, and I feel that. It's also great to know that tonight's conversation at the Free Library main branch,
7:30,
is with an amazing Philadelphia artist who also has been on her own journey of accomplishment. Some of you may have tuned in last year when we had to virtually because of COVID. I hosted a virtual book tour event and moderated a conversation with Tracy Gillette. Am I pronouncing? I always want to make sure I get her name right. But since then, she's gone on. She's won a Soul Train Book Award for this amazing book about Black joy. Mm-hmm. And so I know that you two are going to have a great conversation tonight because she's talked about what she's gone through to get to the joy. Right. And your book is an exploration of this other journey, right?
Of trying to get to the joy.
To the joy.
Of understanding the pain, of understanding the woe, so that you can be able to appreciate the wonder of looking at some of the tragedy while acknowledging the triumph. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
See, that's how you know he's a wordsmith. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that alliteration up in there? But it's also, I want to know, because there are a lot of people that are going to watch this either in real time or in the playback,
right,
who think they have a story to tell.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
And so what advice do you have for people who are trying to find a way to get the words out?
Right. I mean, we're in the middle of a bookstore. Mm-hmm. Like, the best way to be inspired, to be impacted, to get a spark to write is by reading. Like, you got to read as much as possible. So I just came here and bought Fat Joe's memoir. I bought this novel called Yellowface. I bought some poems by Natalie Diaz. Like, I find myself inspired by other people writing. And I feel like if you want to write something, or if you feel like you have a story to tell, just go read. Read as much as possible. And then just start journaling. Just putting stuff down on paper. You know, just write something every day or every other day or before you go to bed. That's the advice I have.
And I need to echo, because I need to acknowledge this publicly, because that is advice that Mama Sonia gave me years ago. She said, keep a journal by your bed. She said, because I know you're one of the ones that gets tied up and you're busy all day long. So at night, when you're winding down, when that creativity gets released, have some place where you can chronicle it. Right. And you can come back and develop it into something later, but get the ideas out. And honestly, this piece that I'm working on with my family history has come to me precisely in that way. I'll wake up and I'll type notes on my phone.
Yeah.
So that I can get back to what it is I'm actually trying to say. And so I'm not a parent by choice.
Right.
Because I went through enough and found out enough where I was like, I don't know that I'm equipped to do this properly.
Yeah.
So, let me not bring damage into this space. Right? But I can, my journey in reading books like yours and in thinking about this is to parent little Stephanie. Because she needed a lot, right? And didn't necessarily get it. So I gotta parent her so that adult me continues to prosper in this space.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And be what I'm trying to be. So
little Stephanie. I love that.
It's a necessary thing. So I thank you for also giving people so much material to work with, whether they're trying to look for material for their little people that will inspire them and bring joy into their lives, or if they're along the journey with you.
I appreciate
trying to figure that parenting thing out.
You're welcome, and it's just good to reconnect with you. It's beautiful to have those anchors in your life that remind you of where you've come from.
Sure enough.
And and what village you're a part of.
Yes, say that.
That just feels good. It feels good, and I'm hoping you can suggest some places in Philly I can eat lunch today.
Oh, yes. Because there are plenty.
Because I'm hungry.
So I got you. We'll work that out for sure.
Yeah.
But everybody, want to remind you again that tonight, 7:30 p.m.
7:30.
Main Branch Free Library, 1901 Vine Street.
Yep.
In conversation with Tracy Gillette's all about Kwame Alexander, his book on finding this journey, how he finds this journey to parenthood. And those of you thinking about it, in the middle of it, on the tail end of it with the grown ones that might be circling back around to your house, you never know where you might come in on that conversation. But Kwame's book will definitely have some advice for you. So I thank you for just, giving us a few moments here.
Appreciate you, sister.
Sitting up in Uncle Bobbie's bookshop again. You got to read in order to write well. So support Uncle Bobbie's. It is an anchor here in Germantown in the Black cultural community, and we want it to stick around for a long time. And we'll be back with more conversation. Your VibeMistress Stephanie Renée, Soul Sanctuary. Get down with the program, and I'm going to now talk to my friend.
Peace, y'all. Be good.